We finally got our hands on the new Honda Highness CB350, and today we're going to compare it to its closest rivals, the Royal Enfield Meteor 350 and the Benelli Imperial 400. If I start with the design of these motorcycles and begin with the Imperial 400, the black theme combined with the spoke wheels and the silver bits gives it the brawniest and the most retro appeal of the three. Talking about the Honda Highness CB350, well, it's not the biggest motorcycle of these three, but it looks the most modern, especially with all these chrome body panels and the chrome silencer. The Royal Enfield Meteor 350, well, it's not much of a design revolution, and it's more of an evolution of the design, as it looks quite similar to the old Thunderbird 350. But having said that, none of these motorcycles looks bad, and they all look very appealing in their own right. Shifting the focus from styling to utility, here's a quick look at what each of these contenders has to offer in terms of ergonomics and features. This is where the three-way battle becomes quite interesting. Of the three, the RE Meteor 350 offers the best ground clearance of 170 mm, while the Imperial 400 rides the lowest at 165. The CB350, on the other hand, is the lightest at 181 kilograms, making it the nimblest of the lot. The Imperial 400 is the heaviest and by a big margin, tipping the scales at 205 kilograms, an aspect that certainly affects its fuel economy as well. The Imperial 400's small fuel tank of just 12 liters does not help it either, as the other two bikes offer larger 15-liter fuel tanks. All three bikes have several features in common that are a part of the standard kit. These include dual-channel ABS, side stand with engine kill, a hazard warning light switch, and a digital analog instrument cluster. However, the Imperial 400 still gets left behind on this front, with its limited features when compared to its rivals. The CB350 is the only bike here that offers full LED lighting, an assistant slipper clutch, dual horns, Honda selectable torque control, which is Honda's traction control system, and a Honda smartphone voice control system that works via Bluetooth and, apart from navigation, also takes care of incoming call and message alerts and even plays music via the Honda app. The Meteor 350, on the other hand, also offers a new Tripper navigation system that's powered by Google Maps and the Royal Enfield app. This means it also gets Bluetooth connectivity. Both the Meteor 350 and the Honda CB350 also get a USB charging port. The Benelli Imperial 400, much like its styling, remains old school on paper and misses out on most modern day features. But it's the only bike here to offer a rev counter though. To compensate for this, Benelli is offering some good after-sales incentives with the Imperial 400, like a 2-year complimentary service package that takes care of up to 5 periodic services and a 3-year standard warranty.
Now let's talk about the engine performance of all three machines. Now let me start with the Honda CB350 first. Now this technically has the smallest motor, but this is the most powerful and it has the most torque of all three motorcycles. And the other important bit to note here is that it produces its peak power at 3000 RPM, whereas both the other motorcycles, they produce their torque as well as power at higher RPMs. Now when you're riding it in the city, that comes quite handy because this has a very linear power delivery. However, it's the Meteor which has a stronger low-end torque because the Honda's gearing is slightly on the taller side. Now as for the Benelli, of course it has the biggest engine here, but it's also the heaviest motorcycle here because it weighs nearly 205 kilograms. Now the other thing that works in Honda's favor is that it's the lightest motorcycle here, and therefore it has the highest power to weight ratio, and that you can feel when you ride this motorcycle out on the highway, because you can touch nearly 140 kph on this motorcycle, whereas both on the Meteor as well as on Benelli you can only touch around 120. Now the other good thing about the Honda is that it's the only motorcycle here that comes with a slipper clutch, That means the controls, the gearbox as well as the clutch, they are the lightest. So when you're riding in the city, this is the motorcycle that you enjoy the most because it has light controls, the engine, the gearbox, and the overall performance is, I think this motorcycle feels the happiest. It feels like a naked to ride in the city. As for the thump, it's the Honda that has the best thump of all three motorcycles. That's because it's only the exhaust that makes the noise. The other parts, the other moving parts of the engine, everything on this motorcycle is very refined, which is not the case with the Royal Enfield. Now in terms of engine refinement, of course the Benelli is also right up there, but overall it's the Honda that comes out on top. So if you have to talk about the engine performance, I think it's the Honda that sits on top of both these motorcycles.
So we've spent the whole day riding all three of these machines, and we've actually come to a very concise decision on what is the best motorcycle. But before I get to that, let me talk about the ride and handling, because each one of these bikes is different in their own way and it makes them unique to what they're made for specifically. The Honda, of course, has fantastic engine and its transmission is phenomenal. The overall handling of this bike also matches that. It's such a fun machine to ride. It's super light. The suspension setup is nice and pliant in all road conditions, and it just feels a lot more confident. You've got the mid-mountain controls and the handlebars nicely tucked closely towards your body. So you really feel a lot more aggressive when you're riding this machine, and you can definitely take on corners much faster. The Enfield, on the other hand, is a cruiser motorcycle, and that has the front-mounted foot pegs, which gives it the front controls. This obviously makes it more of an easy rider on the highway, and it does do that very, very well. In terms of long-distance cruising, the Meteor is certainly a lot more comfortable than these two machines, and it just can ride and ride and ride for hours, and you'll be having a great time with it. The Benelli is more of a city slicker. It's definitely in an upright seating position, very laid back, and definitely a really cool machine to ride because the Benelli badge and the way it looks, you feel very nice on it. It is a niche product after all. And the handling also, it is a little bit sharper than the Enfield because of the seating position.
The only problem with the Meteor and the Imperiale is that the rear suspension is on the stiff side. On nice roads, the ride is pliant and smooth, but once you encounter bad roads, then the Meteor really faces a problem. The CB350, on the other hand, has a more well-rounded suspension setup, and it can take on bad roads quite comfortably. But where the Benelli feels like a city slicker, the CB feels more like a motorcycle that wants to be pushed. It definitely is the most sporty and aggressive of the lot, and the handling is definitely the best thanks to its strong chassis and light weight. You need to ride the CB hard to experience it best. It can be ridden more calmly, but it does not feel like a relaxed ride. All three bikes have their own unique character and charm, but in terms of the best overall product, we have to give it to the Honda CB350. Quality, handling, engine performance, and the Honda badge really make it the best value for money option. The Meteor certainly is the best long-distance riding machine here, and the Benelli is a more niche Italian beauty. All three are good in their own right, but the fact remains that Honda and Benelli will never be able to have the amount of reach as the Royal Enfield in India. With more than 1,000 dealers spread across the country, India will always be Royal Enfield's kingdom, and the Meteor is the first of many new guardians of the throne.
So there you guys go. As a total package, the winner definitely here has to be the Honda Highness CB350. It is a Honda after all, so the build quality, the refinement levels, the performance are totally unmatched here. The Royal Enfield comes in a close second. It definitely is a fantastic upgrade from the older Royal Enfield machines we've seen, and it really is fun to ride as well, and a very nice affordable cruiser. Coming in last is of course the Benelli, and I won't say last because it also is a very, very good motorcycle to ride. It just is a little bit more niche than these two bikes here, but overall still, if you do manage to get this bike, I guarantee you'll have a great time with it, but don't discount the other two because they are also fantastic products.